In this video, I'm going to show you how to document assessment and diagnoses in the BulletProof program. So for the assessment, you want to have an assessment specific for each condition that you're treating. So what we're going to do is the program is actually going to do the assessment for you based on the metrics. It's going to be automatic, but you still have to click on the tab at the top of the screen. I'll show you that in a moment. For complicating factors, you want to be able to document complicating factors also specific to each condition. And for that, you only need to enter that on your first visit. After the first visit, they don't really change, so it'll just kind of keep coming up on each visit after that. If anything does change, you can always add to that. Contraindications to dynamic thrust adjusting is something else that's required by Medicare, and it's really not a bad idea maybe to document that for everybody else, but at least document it for your Medicare patients. And I'll show you how we do that. For ICD-10 codes, you want to document both the ICD-10 code and the description. What you'll see in the program is it'll only have the description for you. You just find the description that you want and click on it. But in the actual SOAP note, it'll come up with both the code and description. To keep this simple, we don't need 68,000 plus codes. Just break it down into nice and easy. You've got pain codes, radicular codes, imaging and disc codes, and you've got our segmental somatic dysfunction codes. So let's bring up the program. We'll take off where we left off. So go to assessment page and notice that automatically it starts off by giving a guarded assessment for each condition. Now I have it do guarded simply because we're looking backwards to see compared to the previous visit, did anything change? There's nothing to look back on the first visit. You want to document acute or chronic more or less than 4 weeks, and here are the complicating factors for the first symptom. Then you get to the next symptom and you see that there's an assessment for the intensity and the frequency and even outcome questionnaires, starting off with guarded. Then we go to acute or chronic and then check the boxes for your complicating factors. The program will even give you assessments for each plane of motion if you measure that. And again, we start off with a guarded assessment, and then as soon as it starts to change, the program will automatically calculate what kind of change there was. The Medicare only contraindications to dynamic thrust adjusting, or as relative and absolute contraindications. So usually we're going to be just checking off none for both of those, but if something does show up, you want to make sure you document that properly. For your ICD-10 diagnoses, so let's say there's spine, okay, we've got x-ray findings, we got neck pain without radiculopathy, segmental somatic dysfunction. The subluxation diagnoses, those are medical subluxations, so that implies ligament damage. So don't use those unless you really know how to work with them. For lumbar, again, we can do strain, we can do low back pain, muscle spasm, segmental somatic dysfunction, x-ray findings, radiculopathy, excluding disc or including disc. Now what's also cool is if you go down to other at the bottom there, if a diagnosis that you need is not there, you can add them. So come over here to new and just type in the actual ICD-10 code in the top box. In the bottom box, type in the description of the code and then click on OK. And then just use that left arrow over, bring it to the box on the left, and that'll save it in the program for you. That's all it takes. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at Dr. Greg, spelled with 2 G's at the end of Greg, at thebulletproofchiro.com.